how can you elevate your finance career? As a finance manager, financial controller, how can you get noticed to ensure that, when the head of finance, finance director role comes up, you will be the one that steps up? Hi, my name is Alysha Randall. I am a fractional CFO, and I'm also a trainer for aspiring and brand new finance directors in startups and scale-ups. And today I want to talk about management accounts. Now, if you have seen my previous videos, you know that I have talked about this before. But the reason why I want to talk about it again is because I just spoke to a founder, and they currently have a CFO in-house. And they told me that they're very good at the strategic side of the role. And if you're not yet a CFO, you may think, oh, that's something I don't understand and I don't know how to be strategic and yada, yada, yada. However, I will say that the founder is actively looking to replace this CFO, and they will be asked to leave the business. And the reason for this is because the founder cannot trust the numbers. So every time the CFO presents the management accounts, the founder just doesn't trust it. The founder actually finds mistakes in it. And so every time this particular CFO talks about anything strategic, they're not really trusted with what they're saying because the foundation's the baseline, potentially what they're basing their decisions on, and the data that they have is not trustworthy. And this just what made me think, oh, I talk about this so much about getting the baseline right and how important it is. So it doesn't matter if you are a CFO of a FTSE 100 and you have been doing this job for 25 years. If the numbers your finance team deliver, management accounts, finance 101, then you're just not good at your job, basically. So I have to stress that the foundations of being a strong finance leader really does start with the reporting, the management accounts, and a clean balance sheet. So I actually I've got a short course on this. It's about 6 hours of content. If this is an area that you really want to dive into, but essentially the crux of it is that not only do you want the numbers to be accurate, which, in general, accountants are very good at, it's your main job. So, reviewing, if you have a junior team, then reviewing the balance sheet, ensuring that it's clean and making sure that the P&L is accurate, that is, quite the basics of the management accounts. However, there is an element of building on that and not just spitting out the same looking management accounts every single month that people don't really open and they don't really read, and they don't really add any value. So, adding value is quite a cliche word, but as a leader, you have to add value. You have to make sure that whatever you're contributing to the business is useful. Otherwise, what's the point in being in your role? So you really need to gain trust from the business. And the easiest way to do that is to make sure the numbers are right and then make sure that your reports are interesting to read. And so the way that you're doing that is basically being curious, and being proactive with the reports that you're doing. If something doesn't look right, then you need to investigate as to why it doesn't look right. If something is, trending over the last 12 months in an upward or downward trajectory, maybe that needs further investigation. And maybe you need to talk to the business about it because it could be something that the business can leverage and increase revenue or improve margins, or it's something that has slowly deteriorated and really needs a business focus. And this is where a strong finance leader can be really useful. Now, going back to basic principles, if your data and your numbers are untrustworthy and incorrect, then any analysis that you do is, there's no point. You're not looking at numbers that you can trust. So again, you really have to have that foundation of accuracy, control, understanding of the numbers of your balance sheet, of your 3 financial statements. And then you can build on top of that. And that is really what a strong finance leader should do. I have talked about this before. I've got a pyramid that I go through, and this kind of shows what you should be really spending your time on, but also the financial leadership fundamentals framework is also based on this, that you have to have a strong foundation before you can really build on that and become ultimately strategic and a valued leader. If you have really strong numbers and they're really interesting to read, not only will you become trustworthy, but people will come to you for your advice. You will be able to develop those business partnership relationships that are really important, particularly if you are hoping for a promotion over the next 12 months. If you have developed trust with the business and start developing and networking and those relationships, then when it comes to the point of, particularly with startups and scale-ups, they really grow quickly, and they may not have a finance director at the earlier stages. But if you develop the trust, develop the relationships, have really, add a lot of good value to the business, and ultimately you have a good personal brand, so around the business you are valued at your contribution, then when those leadership roles come up, it'll be a no-brainer then for the founder and the C-suite to put you and elevate you and support you in that role. I've certainly seen that. That's how I got started in my career. I started at Love Film as a financial controller and finished up as a director of finance. So, it's really thinking about that career progression, but instead of ignoring the balance sheet reconciliations because you've been doing it for 10 years and it's not the sexiest, task to do, or, just churning out your month end and you just care about, getting it out by the deadline. It's not really, you're just going through that monthly cycle. It's not, if you're behaving like that, you're not going to get that leadership role. You're not going to develop as a contributor to the C-suite and ultimately become a C-suite. So I cannot stress enough that making sure your foundation and your numbers are accurate, and then building on from there and making sure that reporting is interesting to read, is had a lot of thought into it. You have spent the time developing it and working with your business partners to find out what they need and including that in your management accounts, and then delivering on that regularly. It is the one thing that everyone on the C-suite, all of the board members and your investors see on a regular basis. And that's where finance people are quite, you do have that direct link to the leaders and the decision makers in the business. And it doesn't matter whether you're good at your job or not, you will definitely be providing those monthly accounts. And so it's your opportunity to show off your skills. It's your opportunity to demonstrate that you can be a good leader, that you are a good leader, or if you're new in the role, that they made the right decision to either promote you or bring you in-house. So that is my thoughts on today. Again, I have talked about the management accounts quite a bit. There's quite a few videos on this channel about it, and also blog posts. I have quite a few blog posts on this. And then, of course, I do have a very short course on the management account. So if you really want a step-by-step process of, this is the first thing you need to look at. Okay, once you've done that, look at the next thing. Then I would recommend taking a look at that course. And that, within, I would say 2 to 3 months, you would be smashing it out of the park. So hopefully that's useful, and certainly something to think about as a future finance leader. Thank you.